Bryant recently released a lingerie ad online and mentioned that a lot of networks refuse to carry the commercial because it apparently doesn't follow their guidelines. Apparently, it's a little too risque for their audiences. Well, we're going to show you that ad, and then we're going to call out the networks on their straight-up hypocrisy. Take a look.
This body.
This body.
This body made for turning heads.
This body is made for proving them wrong.
It's made for being bold, powerful, and sexy.
This body.
This body.
This body is made for love.
This body, it's made for rocking denim.
This body is made for style.
It's made for living.
It's made for getting it on.
This body is made for breaking the mold.
This body is made for starting a revolution. What's your body made for?
All right, so Lane Bryant makes lingerie for women that are full-figured, and so it makes sense that they would feature the body type that they're targeting in this ad. And apparently, a number of networks just refused to do it. They wanted some edits made. ABC didn't participate in people's request for a comment. NBC, however, refuted the claim that the ad was flat-out rejected. Rather, the network said they had asked Lane Bryant to edit the ad. But
Did
they
you take out some of the heavier ladies and put in some thinner ladies? Just make that, if you could make that edit, that would be super cool.
Was it? I don't think it was that, though. I think it was the breastfeeding image.
It's funny because they weren't specific about that. And
They
if it
weren't
was
specific,
breastfeeding,
because everything else seemed fine, no?
Yeah, of course everything else
But
seems
that's
fine.
the biggest controversy right now is people breastfeeding in public and breastfeeding, and are they ready to take it that far?
It's incredible that we live in a society that shames breastfeeding, which is the most natural thing for a mother to do.
Also,
but then they go ahead and they're like, oh yeah, models, show me your ass. If you don't believe
But they don't
me,
show the models breastfeeding, and the models have babies. I don't think it's a shaming of the breastfeeding.
it's shaming. We live in a country that shames women for breastfeeding. When you have establishments that kick women out if they have the audacity to breastfeed,
that's just not right.
That's the environment that we're living in right now, and the networks are complicit in that if they're really that bothered by one tiny little shot of someone breastfeeding.
On the planet, and I really mean this, and I know everybody's got fetishes, but who is titillated by breastfeeding?
There might be some people titillated by breastfeeding, but guess what? There's a lot of people that are titillated for a lot of different reasons in that ad. And if breastfeeding is a thing that's freaking people out about it, I don't know, they have issues. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because there's a huge hypocrisy, as you guys know, when it comes to the networks and what they choose to show in terms of ads and what they don't choose to show. Lane Bryant gets rejected, but how many Victoria's Secret ads have we seen that look exactly like this?
They had a lot of girls. They had to get through everybody.
I'm super confused by one thing. Can we run that again?
This is.
I did want to see, what was it, Miranda on the bar there?
This is usually when the teacher would ask me to go up and go to the blackboard.
Oh my God. And if that wasn't enough for you, here's another ad that I'm sure you guys have seen. It's not a lingerie ad, but it's another one featuring some scantily clad women. Take a look.
Black Angus beef and bacon, so Tex. Fire roasted peppers and onions, it's Mex. Let's settle this. Mex! 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 Mex!
Should we tell him it's both? Eventually.
When Tex meets Mex, it's a win-win. The Tex-Mex.
Come on!
That was never on the air. That's a joke commercial.
We covered this story when it first came out.
That's
it
a
was
joke.
on the air. Bart is shaking it or nodding his head. He saw it on television.
You saw it on television? Wow.
So,
but they weren't breastfeeding.
What I like about
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But also,
They're not ready
but I was going to make an argument that in the first ad, the closeness of the women, that there might have been a lesbianic fear in that ad, because the women in the Lane Bryant ad, they were touching each other, but of course, but then the Victoria's Secret ad, when they were all over the bar, and those women were slapping each other's behind. So my argument is is out the window.
In the Carl's Jr. ad, like, I don't know if my audio was on, but like when she started squirting the water all over her face, like, I mean, what is that supposed to symbolize? I'm like,
symbolizes that they're
like
outside.
92 degrees.
It's hot. Yeah. She's trying to cool off.
Yeah, real hot.
What I like about those ads, so those people went to Carl's Jr., was that?
Yes.
Those people went to Carl's Jr. And then drove what appears to be 30 miles or so to some remote, destitute beach volleyball place without eating any of their burger, and then eat a burger that's been sitting in a bag for 30 minutes.
In the sweltering heat.
In the sweltering heat. I don't think that's realistic.
Well, I think it was Lindsay Wagner who pioneered the lesbianic form.
She was the lesbianic woman.
Well, look, here's what I've noticed, I would say, in the last 2 to 3 years when it comes to these networks and the commercials. You guys remember the Honey Nut Cheerios ad that had the interracial parents?
Yes, I do.
There's a huge backlash about that. I'm starting to see commercials now that are embracing, you know, the lesbian, gay community, bisexual community, whatever, all the different communities that you have, from interracial parents to gay parents to breastfeeding and things like that. And it just takes one to be comfortable with it. Someone's gonna show a breastfeeding ad on TV. Someone's gonna show, you know, someone in some way, shape, or form. I look at television shows now. Certain television shows are now allowing, on cable networks, on USA I'll use for an example, they're allowing the word shit, they're allowing the word ass in certain things.
Really?
I heard it on my show Suits. I heard it and I rewound it and I was like, wait a minute, did she?
No,
yes, they're not bleeping it out.
You can use the F word on certain, FX uses it sometimes.
Oh, on cable.
Yeah, on cable shows, so not network. So maybe that Carl's Jr. Commercial was on a cable commercial or things like that. My point is, it's gonna take one person to finally say, okay, we're okay with it, you're okay with it. But yes, the majority looks at Victoria's Secret models and says, hey, this is okay, this is beautiful, this is what we live for. And that's the society that we've been brought in. Everyone thought Marilyn Monroe was cute when she happened to walk over an event, and threw her hands down. Like, this is what's been, you like that? Yeah. This is what's been accustomed for not just now, and not been shaming just now, but this has been the last 50, 60, 70 years in our society.
Yeah.
When we look at movies, all the movie stars that we admire and our quote-unquote celebrity crushes are all, these models and these girls and the Audrey Hepburns and the, Shirley MacLaines. There weren't, name me one person that was a plus size or, full
Anna
figure.
Nicole Smith.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah,
but again,
that was a rarity.
But her weight loss was a big deal when she did, and then she became. But my father, by the way, my father's current book, so as I was saying, available on Amazon, as is Jimmy's book. Your Country is not just not that into you. It's 2 books you can buy. But my father wrote a book in 1977 called Remote Control, and it talked about our obsession, our new obsession with television. It wasn't new in 1977, but how television was dictating our lives, and we had crossed a significant racial barrier at that point, because featured on a sitcom, a Norman Lear sitcom at that time, of the Jeffersons, they had an interracial couple as a neighbor, and that was a big deal. But that really didn't, at least not in 1977, it took more than one thing to kick down that door, because it was still a moment where you couldn't really see a black man and a white woman, let alone a blonde woman. You still look at movies like the U.S. Marshals with Wesley Snipes, and where he's got a white, she's a girlfriend or his wife, but everybody, they'd have to switch it, and they'd be European. Like, you couldn't have an American woman with being defiled by a black man. And now there is a commercial. I think it's for gum, but I might be wrong, because I don't know what anybody. I literally watch a commercial and I think, like the rest of you, I have no idea what the product is. Afterwards, right? But we're 2 black guys, and dark-skinned black guys, catch blonde cheerleaders at the end. And I wish my dad were alive to see that ad, because he would think, hey, now we're making actual progress. But it is slow going, and this large women breastfeeding is apparently a barrier we're not quite ready to cross.
Yeah, I think we are ready to cross it. I just think that, people need to fight for it, and I'm glad that Lane Bryant is doing that.